Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the March 23rd, 2022 meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. We have the order starting with continued business. The first is an enforcement order that was given to S&R Corporation. Their location is 700 to 706 Broadway Street. And this was an enforcement order that was concerned with dumping of snow and dirt into the canal that adjoins their property. Is there news about this? Are you here for S&R? Yeah. Okay, we just called that one, and why don't you come up to the podium and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Stephen Pluff. On March 3rd, we had performed the removal of the material. We videotaped it and sent it along to Mr. Katrumbas. So in response to that, his email to me was that so I should just plan on coming here and explaining what we did. And
okay, so were you able to reach all of the material?
We were.
Oh, great.
Yep.
And had the snow melted by then, I'm presuming, perhaps?
It had not, no.
No?
Not at that, no, not at that point.
Okay.
No.
And where is the material now?
The material was brought to another job site that we were working on, actually, and used over there.
So it wasn't just piled up next to the canal?
No.
Okay. All right, that was our goal. Has somebody from the office been able to go out there at all? Peter, do you know? Okay.
Yeah, the email he sent to me was, I wanted to ask, thank you I want to ask you or someone from your company if you would be available to attend the Conservation Committee meeting today. I am planning to put this item on the agenda for that meeting. They have a hearing to officially close the enforcement order. And that's
okay. All right, so you're here to ask that be done.
Yes.
Let me just ask if anybody from the commission has further questions about this particular order that we gave out midwinter, I'd say. Are there any questions? Well,
no, I don't think so. I looked at the videos, and it looks like you guys you're getting a pretty good chunk of dirt and everything up as you're going through.
We really did try to kind of,
Yeah, I mean, you were getting big scoops up, so I thought it looked pretty good from the videos.
okay.
We tried to make a bona fide effort to, do the right thing, so.
Okay. Anybody on our Zoom end here have questions?
I just have a comment. It's not sure if this pertains to this enforcement order with the snow, but I noticed in the pictures there are dumpsters right over by the wall, really close to the water. Is there any other location that you guys could move them? Because like a little bit of wind at any given moment, those all the stuff from the dumpster could end up in the canal.
Um, the, the short answer is yes, there is somewhere else. We had been toying with a few different ideas because we had the concrete plant under construction for a while and things like that, but we're gonna move it over to the other side within the next 30 days.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been up and down the canal in boats over the years, and I also noticed sheen from the. You guys got a lot of big trucks there coming through those walls. I'm just thinking about the future. Who's responsible for those canal walls? Because that wall right there in this location looks pretty dilapidated. It looks like that it might not be structurally sound.
Um, the boot hydro would be in charge of the canal walls themselves, and as far as any sheen, we had requirements from both EPA and DEP, and we have an environmental engineer that conducts monthly visits and does quarterly reports to the DEP and semi-annual, twice annually. So semi or bi, and twice a year to the EPA. So I would be surprised to see a sheen anywhere over there. To be truthful.
Yeah, I remember when you came in and explained that and told us how you were going to deal with that with booms on the water, was it?
That we have a constant.
Yeah.
There's a constant presence of boom along the entire length of that wall.
Is there any timeline on when they think that won't be necessary?
The only way to make it entirely unnecessary would be to basically change the profile and pick it up high enough so that it would run away. So what we've decided to do is try to design a drainage system along the wall where we could collect it, try to separate it and then, handle it that way.
Mm-hmm. Is that in progress or?
It's in design, yeah.
Not yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's no more questions about the enforcement order, that's what's on the agenda tonight. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to rescind the enforcement order.
Motion made to rescind the order. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Steve. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of rescinding the enforcement order to S&R indicate by
Aye.
saying
Aye.
aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't. You're keeping track, Peter, right? I can't see the people on Zoom. Okay, thank you. That order's rescinded then, and thank you for taking care of that in as prompt a time frame as you could, considering the winter weather.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
No problem at all. Take care. Have a good night.
Good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have a request for determination of applicability sent by Jonathan Goldfield representing the Lowell Housing Authority. The project is in a senior citizen housing at 50 Stackpole Street. Is there anyone here to explain this project or answer questions about it?
Yeah, good evening. This is Jonathan Goldfield with the Lowell Housing Authority.
Hello.
Hello.
We've seen the plans, and You're here because you're replacing windows, basically, and perhaps a little brickwork, and you're in close proximity to the Concord River.
That's correct.
So, I understand you have 2 phases planned of work, and the first phase is the sides that are not so close to the river, is that correct?
That is correct.
So, we had a topographic map of the backside of the building, which is a fairly steep slope down to the Concord River, and one corner of the building appears to be within 15 feet of the building. So our concern would be making sure that nothing, either sediments or debris or loose materials or paper, cardboard, anything of that sort, we don't want getting into the river, because at that point it would be almost impossible to retrieve it, I think. So I'm wondering, what are your plans to keep that from happening?
Well, normally the contractor would be responsible for putting up all the prerequisite protections, being any filtration or fencing. We believe, we haven't bid it yet, so we don't have a contractor at this point. But there would be probably an order of conditions built into the specification for them. The idea, I believe, is going to be to use a pump jack system on that side of the building that'll put scaffolding up, poles and scaffolding up on that side of the building. It's been done, the work obviously was done back in the 80s, last time these windows were replaced. I'm sure these regulations, I know they weren't in place back then exactly, but they probably had to follow something for protection. So there haven't been any ramifications that we know of that are on the record. We'll make every possible preventative step that we can. There'll be somebody from the Housing Authority on a regular basis on the site, so the contractor won't be there unsupervised. There's a property manager, the 2 property managers in the building all day. So we'll make sure that there's regular policing of the site and specifications that make sure that they prevent anything falling into the river. My understanding is the only concern I'm going to have, of course, is the brickwork and that sort of thing. From my view of it, it doesn't look that bad, and hopefully by doing the other 3 sides of the building, we'll uncover any surprises, if you will, so that we get to the rear of the building on the Concord River side, we'll be well prepared to deal with any of the conditions that we come across.
Okay, I've seen projects on buildings such as that with scaffolding where they have netting
Right.
attached to the scaffolding. Is that something that you could be requiring to try to prevent some of those things that might fly away in the wind?
We can. I mean, we're certainly doing that at our building at 657 Merrimack Street right now. All around the scaffolding, we're repairing all the balconies on that building, and that's exactly what we've done.
Okay. Questions
That's
from
an
the
excellent
board?
idea, actually. Go ahead.
Is there any abatement involved with the window
No,
replacement?
not that I know of.
Further questions? Anyone from the board? What's the timeline? You do have 2 phases. Is one going to be starting fairly soon, and is the other going to follow immediately, or what is your timeline?
We haven't determined that yet. We're going to be financing this, so it's not out of an existing grant. So the finance department is going to be going for the financing on this. And we're also doing an elevator project, elevator and generator replacement as well. That's coming out of the same project funding that we're trying to get. So when that happens, I know I don't want to do it in the winter. It's certainly something that I'd want to be doing when the weather is favorable. But that schedule is to be determined.
Is the building going to be vacant when you're working on it?
No, no,
So
that's
you
a
have to
fully
work
occupied
around,
building.
Yeah,
Yep.
work around that too. What's
Normally
the,
we ask the resident to not be in the apartment while we're working and taking the window or any other project like that out. There's a community room in the building that they can be in while the work is going on.
so the last windows lasted about 40 years, according to your narrative. How long do you expect this set to last?
You know, I can't answer that question. The issue with the windows right now, so much as they're too heavy for the elderly population to be able to open and close. They're intact, but they just aren't usable in that sense. So hopefully the new windows that go in, normally they have, you know what, I'm not even going to speculate on the specification at this point. Typically, a window should have at least a 20-year life on it, but these probably are longer because they're going to be a higher end product.
I've seen many local buildings, particularly our schools, that had non-glass windows installed years ago, and they've turned all cloudy. Is that something that you just expect to happen?
No, I mean, if they're not glass, I don't know, were they plexiglass? We're not doing that. We're
Something
doing,
like that. Oh, I thought
yeah,
you said that these were going to be some kind of plastic.
no, that's the framing, the
The
PVC,
frames are
the
plastic.
body. Yeah. There's a PVC. Usually the window frames are made out of PVC or aluminum. And glass is a glazing. It's usually a two layers with an argon type gas in between as insulation. But no, they're gonna be a glazing window.
Okay, so between the glass and the metal that you're taking out, those particular materials aren't things that are going to fly away or roll away
No.
easily. So I guess I don't have as many concerns, but I still would like to see some netting around the scaffolding, at least where you're using that.
I've made a note. Yep.
On the river side of the building. I believe there's probably two sides that might require some netting.
Well, certainly along the river itself, when you're across the river looking at it on the, straight at it, I'm not sure it would be required on the entrance or on the side that's on the left as you're facing it from the river, which is a lower part of the building. But if you are you intending to issue an order of conditions for this?
This actually is not, you're not asking for an order of
Right.
conditions.
That's true. We're just doing a request for determination. Right. Yeah.
The other thing we probably would like to see is not have a lot of storage along the river side of the building.
Very well.
So if there's no further questions, I would entertain a motion to this. It looks like the situation concerning the riverside can be controlled, and even though it's within our resource area. Is there anyone here that would like to speak from the public? Are you here for 50 Stackpole Street by any chance? Anyone? Okay.
I'll make a motion to grant a -3 determination on project at 50 Stackpole Street, with the understanding that netting will be used around scaffolding on the resource side.
Okay, motion made to issue, that be a -3,
Yes.
Weston? Okay, it's within the resource area, but it's not going to negatively impact as long as care's taken. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Perry, thank you. If there's no further discussion, may I have a show of who's in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 2. Are you counting from the screen? Okay. All right, I believe the motion is passed, and we will be issuing you that determination fairly shortly. And
Very well.
thank you for checking in, Mr. Goldfield.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, everyone. Have a good
You're
evening.
welcome. Have a
Thank
good
you, you
evening.
too.
You too.
Moving along, we have some new business. This is a notice of intent put forth by the City of Lowell. DEP file number 2060814. The project location is 475 West Meadow Road. This is the park, variously called LeBlanc Park, Pawtucket Memorial Park. It used to be the health camp, for those of you who've been around a while. And they're proposing to relocate the entrance, the first 85 feet of the entrance into the park, so that you don't have a double entrance at West Meadow Road. It would enter onto Gumpus Road instead. Is somebody from the city going to speak about this?
Somebody's supposed to be here.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody is on Zoom.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Hi, this is Ting Chan City Engineer. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good. Yeah, the city is looking to relocate the existing driveways going into the LeBlanc Park, where we all know that it's a very awkward going into it from West Meadow Road. So we are looking at to relocating it on Compass. We will be abandoning the existing driveway where we're at West Meadowbrook right now with probably a big boulder. Building is 16 feet by probably 85 feet to connect to Compass and discontinue a portions of the existing driveways to turn into a grass area. There, we're planning to have two phases of this project. The first phase will be the entrance itself. The second phase will be probably resurfacing the existing access way. Probably later down, depend on the funding. So that's the plan. All the works are within just the buffer zones. As you may notice that some of the areas are within the 25 feet non-disturbed zones, where existing driveways are within already. The new locations actually are farther away from the existing wetlands than what's currently is right now. That's pretty simple project. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, could you repeat the timing of the phases, please?
Sure. So we would like to move forward with phase ones as soon as possible. We're looking at the funding itself. Depend on the funding. If we able to secure funding, we might move both phases together. But first phase, we'd like to do it probably in the spring, before the park opens, if the funding's available. The phase two, we don't know yet at this point. It all depends on when the funding would happen. Hopefully, it will be soon.
Okay, so would the park be remaining open? Would you still have an entrance for people to drive in there during this project?
We will able to maintain it. This is a pretty simple project. We're hoping that we can, hopefully we're able to provide some sort of detours around. It's a pretty simple connection. It should not take more than a few days to construct this.
Okay, so there is a wet area very, very close to that beginning part of the driveway into the park. And this is actually, in that respect, a good idea to move the road further away. So that would seem to be a good idea. You would be removing the the pavement's very poor out there. It's hardly fit to be called pavement. You would be removing that
Yes.
from the site?
Yes.
The portion that you're abandoning?
Mm-hmm. We will either remove it or we will mix it in as a base, because there, from the existing roadway on the Gumpus Road, it's you notice that it go down, so we need some sort of fill. There's probably about 2 feet of fills to connect.
You're talking about what?
There's 2 feet of difference between Gumpus Roads and the existing driveway right now. The pavement, the portion of the pavement that being removed, we will either remove it off-site or we'll mix it into the subbase for the new location.
Okay, well, the concern would be that if you do remove that, we wouldn't want the elevation to go above the elevation that's there now in that portion that's being removed. In other words, if
The
you're
portion will
removing
remain the same.
pavement, if you want to loam and seed, we wouldn't want more loam than is an elevation that's there now, and perhaps even a little less, because I'm sure the road was built up a bit.
So at that area, when we build up the road, it will blend in and will meet existing grade. And it will,
So
we will,
you would have a way of marking to
yes,
tell the contractor what the elevation should be once that's over with.
yes.
There is a, between the two roads right now, there is a sort of a berm of plantings. The roads are separated at the beginning right now. And there's a landscaped area between Gumpus Road and the driveway to the park right now,
Mm-hmm.
about 6 feet wide. So I'm concerned that that perhaps cannot be disturbed while construction is happening. Those plantings were made by the neighborhood, and I think they're worth saving. Do you know where I'm talking about?
No, I'm trying to see where you're talking about. I apologize. So.
Where the two roads are parallel, where they
Mhm.
come off of West Meadow Road.
Can I share my
Yes.
screen so that way?
What's that?
Is it? Can I share my screen? Is that a possibility?
Sure.
I believe it's set up so that the participants in the
There we
video.
go.
There we go. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
No
So are
worries.
you
Okay,
talking
right-
about?
That's right where
Right,
where
there's
the
this-
arrow was. This area
Right
right here,
here.
you can see the plantings from the monument out to West Meadow. It's a
So,
kind of a
so the
berm,
road
and
will
it
come-
has landscaping.
so the road will come straight out in this sense, right? Roughly right
I'm
here.
talking about the
This
area
piece.
between the two roads that exists right now, closer to West Meadow. Go down, whoever's got the arrow. Yeah,
I have
right
the
in
arrow.
there,
Yeah.
from where the monument is, all the way out to West Meadow, is a landscaped area that people of the
So-
neighborhood donated those plants.
So here is the zoom in of the plans of what we're proposing on phase one. We will
Right.
be relocating. Unfortunately, that monument area will needs to be relocated. We are
Well,
planning
I'm
on
not so concerned with the monument, that's fairly
This-
new, and that can be
this
moved.
area.
Yes, that's exactly
This
the
area
area.
we're not planning on
Right.
disturbing.
There's a picture here, where'd you get that picture?
That's just a street view in Google.
There's a street view in Google that shows it very well, that Steve's got. I don't know if he can share his screen or not.
Yeah, I'm not logged in.
All right, Steve's got a great picture of the area I'm talking
Sure.
about.
He's not
It doesn't look like much right now because it's winter,
Mhm.
but.
Okay.
I don't know if somebody else who's already online can get to that.
I can share my screen. Sorry, guys. Alrighty, here
Have
we
you got
go.
it, Weston?
Yep.
Okay, there we
So
go.
I think their road is going to come in right up here,
Well, our
Okay,
row, it's,
so
yeah,
it's that whole strip between
where
the
you're
two
talking about are
roads.
these plants, right, Louisa? These plants here.
Yes, that's it. What I'm
yeah, we're
asking
not gonna,
is there any reason you have to disturb that to do this work?
no, no, our entrance is coming in, further up near where the utility poles are. So we're not gonna disturb any of those,
Okay, I know
planting
that,
there.
but you're going to be removing pavement right next to this landscaped area on the other side of the shrubs there.
We're
And
only
I'm
gonna be
hoping that
removing
you
a
can
portion of it. We will try to, we will,
direct the contractor to not disturb that.
absolutely, we can do that.
Is there a way you could remove all of the pavement, or
There is not the plan right now, maybe down in the row, there we will.
it might be nice, maybe the neighborhood could get a garden bed in there or something like that.
I would agree with Weston. If that could be removed versus just having that impervious surface at some point, I think that would be great.
Yeah, it would allow the wetland to maybe creep out and do whatever it used to do. You were removing a section of it, right? Maybe the corner, or
We are removing a section of it, yes.
like
Up to where it
up to
turns.
Up to
and-
somewhere right there, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, right. Would it be too much to ask if you guys could just keep going and mill up
It
the
would,
rest of
it
it?
all depend on the funding, honestly.
All depend on the funding.
It's all depend on the funding. That's the reason that it's being broken into phases right now.
Okay. Yep.
And on that note, with the respect to the funding, I mean, that would be just kind of additional days labor of doing the work. You're not talking about a lot of capital costs. It's just literally getting the equipment out there for an extra day or two to remove that pavement.
And loams and stuff like that, yes.
Yeah.
It will be loams and stuff like that. So maybe it's something that city will consider down the road. I'm happy to bring it back.
No, and I
see.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand the funding limitations,
Mm-hmm.
but I think, I guess if the message from the commission would be, we would strongly desire the city's considering removing that pavement because it would enhance the area, increase recharge, all things that are consistent with the Wetlands Protection Act. And I don't think it's quite a bit more money than the overall in the context of the overall cost of the project. But I do understand that everything has to be budgeted. But I think that's the message that we're trying to ask you to take back to the city.
Sure.
Thank you.
So it's possible that once you get that pavement out of there, that you're going to have very little herbaceous materials taller than a blade of grass, fairly close to that wet area. And I'm thinking perhaps if there were some shrubs to replant along there, it might be a good idea, but we'd have to see what it looks like when you're done with the removal.
Yep.
I have another concern that it affects the wetlands as far as you're in the buffer zone with it, and this is in phase 2. Just as you start going up the hill to the second parking lot, or to the parking lot at the top of the hill, there is a stone formation on the left that sits up on on a mound, and the road runs right by it. And this is a fairly historic formation of stones that have been mentioned in quite a few historical documents. And there's been a mystery about it that no one has decided for sure. But they have equated it with something like Stonehenge, where someone has set up stones to
The
look
Druid
at.
Circle.
The what
I'm
circle?
glad you brought this up because I wanted to bring it up as well.
Okay, all right. So.
Is it possible for you to show me
My
exact?
concern, it has not been touched yet, and you can see it's kind of a teardrop shape on your plan even. It sits right in front of the playground area with the swing sets, and there are various boulders in very particular locations. You can see 3 of them just to the, I guess it would be the southeast of the play equipment. And
It's south of
yes,
the softball field as well.
yeah, since the road runs so close, my fear would be that in Phase 2, somebody would have a bright idea like, oh, maybe we could widen the road a little and cut into that edge that sits about 2 or 3 feet above the road on the left side right now, and spoil that formation, because where it has been written about, people are going to be coming and looking for that for years to come, I think. Kevin, what have you heard about that?
There's a lot of speculation on who actually put them there, what the purpose was for, but I do know that there was an archaeological dig put on by UMass Lowell, and I think they can trace it back to maybe the 19th century. I'm not sure, but my question was, what is the plan with all of the stones? Because I know there's a lot of stones that line the whole driveway. Do you plan on using them all, or I assume you're gonna have to move some at the entrance?
Yes, we are at the entrance. We are gonna remove them and actually relocate to the other to the edge as well. We're gonna use a couple of them, large one probably to use at the West Meadow entrance to block that. I want to go back to Chairman's question about the Stonehenge. I'm sharing my screen right now. I just want to make sure that we are on the same page
Yeah,
where.
the arrow's right in the area now.
Is that right here?
No, it goes way up. It's almost the whole entire area that looks cleared. Goes way up. It's a triangular, sort of a teardrop area. It's quite large. Not that far. That's the parking lot. Right?
It almost looks
Right
like
here?
an arrow facing east.
Yeah.
Triangular
I think
arrow.
the
I just
front,
sent a little thing in the chat
the
here.
front stone, I think, is supposedly the solstice stone facing east.
So, I mean, would the only stone that we're planning on relocating is near where the new driveways are. All the existing ones along, we're not planning on moving them.
I
We
think-
can definitely, doing construction, we can definitely make the contractor aware of the significance of these stone. So protection being put in place.
I think the fear is not what the plan is, but what actually happens when somebody gets out there with a big machine. And so what I would like to see is I'd like to see orange construction fence around that entire formation of stones for the duration of the project once you get to Phase 2. And I'd also like to see it marked on the plans that is a no-disturb area. It'd be very easy for somebody to say, oh, I'm missing a stone, here's one over here, you know. There's already been some stones missing from that particular formation.
Sure.
And that is the side that's closest to the wetlands, if I have to justify it that way. it's in our buffer zone, and it's very likely in our no disturb zone as well. So I would ask for those two things, a fence to protect it during construction, and to have it marked on the plans clearly that it's a no disturb zone.
So it's not here, right, you're talking about? This is not the stone formation. Are you talking about here, stone formation?
Which one is that?
Could you click on the second link I just sent in the chat, actually, to the Zoom room?
The fence would actually go from
Pretty
the,
funky, I didn't.
from the
Oh,
play
okay.
area down to the bend in the road, that whole area.
I think it was that first area that you were looking at, Tink.
Okay, so, okay.
Very interesting. I didn't know about this. Kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
Is it listed on the state register of historic places or anything like that?
I'm not sure.
In one of those articles that
It might say it in here. I mean, it's
Weston
been,
said.
people have been looking at it for a while.
No, the only reason I bring it up is even if it might be outside the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act, if that area has been deemed to be historic or culturally significant, by the state, there are restrictions on what you can do in those types of areas. It would be analogous to the National Historic Preservation Act, where you have to avoid, minimize, and mitigate any actions to any area that's been deemed to be historic or culturally significant.
So
That's the only reason why I bring it up.
I think we're talking about this location, right?
Yeah,
These
it's like in
locations. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, even
It's
those
much,
three
much-
big stones
it's
at the
much
end.
much
by the-
bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And probably
Much
here.
bigger.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, we can absolutely add, to have them add construction fence and notes that they need to protect them. We anticipate our staff will be out there as well doing constructions. So,
Good. Cool.
And
We're sort of talking this whole area here.
where is the silk fence going?
Steve, I think your laptop.
yeah, right there, yeah. This is the 100-foot buffer zone right here. I mean,
Right.
we'll definitely, we see the significant, if there's a significant historic thing, we would
Yeah,
definitely
it
protect
might be even
There's
a
no
little
reason not
larger
to.
than that, down to where the bend in the road is.
I think as long as they stay, where the extent of the road is now, which they're planning to do,
Yeah,
it'll be okay, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and
we're
they'll
not
protect
planning
it.
on expanding the width of the road.
Right. So they should be, they'll be careful and mark
Yeah,
it.
I agree with Weston. I mean, I think the idea is let's flag it. No, we can mark it off with fencing. We can demark it on the plans. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else we need to do. I mean, the idea is to make sure that the contractor doesn't inadvertently move stones. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Because if you look at the footprint of the proposed work, it doesn't really encroach into that area.
Right, and the aerial overlaid is maybe a little bit off too. So looking at this map, it might be a bit overstated.
Yeah, it goes down a little more towards the 100-foot buffer zone mark there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was talking about the hatch for the road. Like, it's not going to be so close. You can see from the pictures in the article I sent that there's a good mark between the road and the stones. So they'll be able to protect it, I'm sure.
Agree.
Okay, can you say the extent of the silt fence that you're planning?
The silt fence, we're gonna put the silt fence just right next to the edge, both edge of the roadway.
Okay.
We're not gonna go further in. There's no need to go further in.
It's just going to be a simple, you come in, you mill, and then
Yeah, it
what
could be mill, it could be just a reclaimed material coming and compacted, So it all depends on funding at this
okay.
point.
But you will just stay in the extents of the existing road,
Absolutely.
right? Okay, perfect.
Absolutely, yeah. Mhm.
Perfect.
So we wouldn't be stockpiling anything within that, within the 50-foot buffer? Or the
Not for,
25-foot no disturb zone, right?
no, except where we building the entrance that's already in the buffer zone, in the 50 feet buffer
No,
zone.
I meant if you had, for instance, some loam delivered, it wouldn't be
No.
stockpiled within our buffer zone.
No. We will make that clear to the contractor.
Cool. Can we open this up to public hearing, or how does that work?
Is there anyone here from the public online that would like to speak on this particular project?
I got it. Hi, my name is Matt LaLasher. I am speaking in favor of this project. I am the, excuse me, sorry, let me shut this off, the background noise. I am speaking on behalf of this project. I am the president of the Pawtuckettville Youth Organization and a member of the Pawtuckettville Citizens Council, and they've asked me to speak on their behalf as well. This is something that has long been asked for and requested by the Pawtuckettville Youth Organization. It's a great safety project, never mind the environmental impact. It allows the kids at night when they're coming out of this field, not just the potholes, but the turn on the West Meadow Road and the cars coming from multiple different directions. It really creates a problem as we get into the season, as the kids are leaving, not just in cars, but on bikes or walking. And so we are 100% in support. The Pawtuckettville Citizens Council is in support as well. And we hope that the board will move forward with what has been discussed this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lasher. Anyone else like to speak? Is there any further from the board? If not, I think we can close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made, seconded by?
I'll second that.
Motion
Give it
made
to
and
Kevin.
seconded. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of closing the hearing indicate.
Aye.
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 1, 2.
Aye.
Passed. Thank you. So now we need a motion about issuing an order of conditions on this project. There were several concerns that I had, that the elevation of the removed roadway area be kept the same as present or lower, that loose materials not be stockpiled in the 25 or 50-foot buffer zones, that fencing or flagging protect the Druid Hill area that we spoke about, the historical area, that the planting area between the two roadways at the present time be preserved and not disturbed, the landscaped area. Were there other concerns that we spoke of?
Louisa, I would just add to that, contingent upon the ability of the city to secure additional funding, consider removing the additional pavement that will be left behind when this project is completed.
I didn't hear that particularly. Did you hear it?
Yeah,
What did he say?
if there's funding available to continue the removal of the pavement all the way down to the road intersection.
Oh, I thought they were going to do that anyway.
No,
It's
it's only
depending on
partially.
funding, Louisa. That's why I said contingent upon funding from the city. Remove the pavement that's left behind with the relocation of the entrance to the driveway.
They're only proposing to remove that much. They're stopping about a little less than halfway down.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Okay, that would make sense. Funding availability, depending that the entire abandoned roadway pavement be removed rather than just a portion of it. And everything else, I believe, is in the plan. I would like they used to call it Druid Hill. It's on some city maps called Druid Hill. That be put on the plan as well, that should be flagged or no disturb. Is there anything else that is a concern as far as conditions? And if not, would somebody like to make a motion as far as issuing an order of conditions?
Bill?
All right, I'll offer a motion to issue a City of Lowell standard order of conditions with the following 5 special conditions. One, the new driveway entrance be maintained at the same elevation as the existing driveway elevation. 2, loose materials not be stockpiled within the buffer zone. 3, include fencing in the area known as Druid Hill? Yeah, in the fencing area known as Druid Hill, in an effort to prevent any disturbance of that area. 4, the existing planting area that was installed or funded by the neighborhood be maintained. And 5th, contingent upon the city's ability to secure funding, remove the pavement from the abandoned portion of the road and restore it to a natural state. Does that cover it?
That sounds good, Bill.
I'll
Do
second
we have
Bill's motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Kevin seconds. Any further discussion from anybody on the board? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for coming in and presenting the project, and good luck with getting that started.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Have a
Thank
great
you. Have a
night.
good one.
Thank you.
Okay, we have
Thanks, Bill. That
only
was
the
too long a list
minutes.
for me. Couldn't keep up while Louisa was reading them off.
She nailed it.
Yeah.
We have only the minutes left, February 23rd, 2022 minutes, and November 10th, 2021 minutes.
I think there's a typo, Louisa. I believe we already approved the February 23rd minutes at the last meeting. I think, the minutes that we were looking to approve were the March 9th meeting minutes, which were
March
also
9th.
provided in an email. Right. I think that's a typo. Pete, you can correct me
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
that's correct. I drew this agenda up, and now that I'm looking at it, you're absolutely right. I should say March 9th.
Okay, so we're going to approve March 9th, 2022, and November 10th, 2021, which we apparently failed to do at the time. Do you have a motion on that, Bill?
I'm prepared to offer a motion to approve the March 9th minutes. I honestly haven't looked back at the November 10th, and compared it with my notes. I just haven't had time. So if others want to, if others have done that, I certainly don't want to hold that back. But I'm prepared to, offer a motion to approve the March 9th minutes.
Okay, motion made to approve March 9th minutes, seconded by
I'll second it.
Perry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Would someone like to approve the November 10th minutes?
They're lengthy. If you haven't looked at them, I mean, there's about 5 pages of notes.
Okay, we've waited this long, we might as well wait till the next meeting. We'll put that on the agenda for next time. That's
I
the end
forgot
of our
about those.
regular agenda tonight. Is there anything else, Peter and Serena? No? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Perry. We almost had to stay here the rest of the evening.
I'll second that
Seconded
motion.
by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Have a
Meeting
great
is
night,
adjourned.
everyone.
Bye,
Good
guys.
night.
Have a good night, guys.
Take care.
Yeah, have a good night. You gonna sign things tonight, or what?
There's 2 ladies.
Maybe they finally figured out it wasn't the meeting they wanted to be at.